to join us and lead the today agendas. Good afternoon, madam. How are you today?
Hello, good afternoon, Joshua. How are you?
I am fine, madam. Great. I invite you to lead this event, please. Time is yours.
Thank you. Hello, good morning, everyone. Good morning in the Belgium time and good afternoon in the Surabaya time. Okay, in this beautiful afternoon, we have a very special event here. We have our honorable international guest lecturer, which is our best friend, Dr. Lieve. Hello, Dr. Lieve. How are you?
Morning, Surabaya. Good afternoon, Surabaya.
Good afternoon, Surabaya, and morning time in Belgium, because it's still 8 a.m. in the morning.
8 a.m. in the morning.
It's still dark. It's a bit dark here.
No, it's not dark anymore. No.
Okay then. Okay, students, before we go through the lecture, I'd like to share about our international programs that we have in the business management department. Have you already seen my screen? Okay, as we all already know, and also Dr. Lieve has already came to our grand launch of international undergraduate programs. So we have started this program this year for the first batch. So all of the courses will be conducted in English, and we are open up for every collaborations with our international partner university as well for this undergraduate program. And also we have 4 major concentrations, Dr. Lieve, here in a business management department. The first one is in operations management and a business analytics. And we are now here in the operations management courses. And then the second one is about the human resource management. And then the third one, we have a marketing management and entrepreneurship. And also we do have accounting and financial here. And then for the time being, we have a 2 option for double degree for our students. The first one is with the Rennes Schools of Business in France. And then the second one is the University of Queensland in Australia. And we do hope we can extend the collaboration to have a double degree with the Vives University as well in the future. And then, yeah, this is our international partner. And here, there is a Vives University of Applied Science, one of our best friend here, because as already mentioned, Dr. Lieve has already visited our campus several years ago. Maybe afterward, Dr. Lieve will tell. We do also have some collaborations with Vives starting from several years ago. For example, we have an internship program. So the students from Vives University coming to Surabaya and team up with our students here in a business management to have an internship in edX in Gresik. And also, we also send our students and get a student from Vives University to join our e-exchange, a virtual exchange that conducted this semester as well. Yeah, and this program, International Guest Lectures Series 2020, is one of our international program to expand the overview of the knowledge in the global world. So our students will get the beneficial of the international guest lecture to share about what is going on in the worldwide. And here we are. We have Dr. Lieve van der Schueren. I'm not sure if I spell it correctly.
You do.
Yes, she will deliver a very special topic. It's about the supply chains. We already know about what is the supply chain itself, and then we will try to get the valuable insight from Dr. Lieve how to make supply chain itself is more flexible. Okay, and I also would like to tell you a little bit about Dr. Lieve profile. She was the lecturer of the Vives Vives University of Applied Science, starting from 2008 maybe. The students still in the kindergarten. I'm not sure. Is that true, Joshua? Yeah. And Dr. Lieve joined the Vives University starting from 2008, and she was appointed as the lecturer in the Department of Commercial Science, Business Management, and Informatics. And now Dr. Lieve currently lectures about the international trading and supply chain management. She is also the coach of the creative business project of the third-year students in the Vives University, where the students set up their own small businesses. So it's about similar with what we have done in the Department of Business Management here. And then without further ado, I'd like to invite Dr. Lieve. So the time is yours.
Okay, thank you. I will start to share my screen. I hope everything is working this way. Good morning to the ETS, good afternoon to ETS in Surabaya. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to teach to you again. It was a great pleasure to be some years ago in your department in Surabaya, and now we will do it again, but in a virtual way, okay? Yes, I said already good afternoon to you. Davy already introduced myself. I'm a teacher at the Vives University in Belgium, in the Department of Commercial Sciences and Business Management. And before, I have been working in private companies for 17 years, where most of the time I was responsible as a raw material purchaser. So I had to buy the raw materials, but also provide the inbound logistics. So the logistics of the raw materials to bring them to the plant. So that in fact was my responsibility before. Maybe a short view. Where am I? I am at the moment, I'm in Europe, I'm in Belgium. I'm now teaching from Ghent because I'm teaching from home, but normally I'm here in this part. I'm in the west part of the country. And in that west part of the country, you have Vives University College. We have 16,000 students. We have 6 basic study areas where I am teaching in the area of commercial science, business management and informatics. And then the city where I'm teaching, in fact, is Kortrijk, which is in the south of that province. But of course, it's all very small because we are a small country, as you know. What is important to us, we teach in rather small groups. So the groups are 35, 40 people in a class because we really want to have the personal contact with the students to really guide them well in what we want to teach. And we also emphasizes the close cooperation with the industry. So we have regular company visits, traineeships, guest lectures, and so on. Because I think, or we believe it's really crucial that we are working together. Okay. This is an introduction. I would like now to start with my lecture for you, how to make a supply chain more flexible. It's a course which is taught in Belgium as well as a generic course on supply chain management in the business management and entrepreneurship as on vocational level. Okay. I would like first to think with you about a product I think you all know. It's TEMPEH. Maybe I don't pronounce it very well, but I think you understand what I mean. And we are going to think together about the supply chain of TEMPEH. So what are we doing? We are buying or growing soybeans. We are soaking them, boiling them, add a multiculture, then wait a little bit so the fermentation can go on, and then we will pack the soybean and sell it on the market. Okay, this is the supply chain if we describe it orally. If you want to draw it, we also can draw our supply chain. We will do that now and look to the building blocks we will use. If we have a rectangular building block, for us, it is a transformation. It will be the manufacturing or the production. If we will have a triangle, it means a storage, an inventory. We will put the product there and wait to see what happens. The line here we will use for transport, and the dotted line we will use for the flow of information. So the full line is the flow of goods, and the dotted line will be the flow of information. If we now check to our supply chain of soybeans again, we see that we buy the soybeans on the market. They arrive in our little factory. This is our little factory. It can be at home somewhere here. So we have a small storage of the soybeans. We will cook them first, soak them and cook them. They will wait a little bit, a small storage of soft soybeans. Then we will add the mold. It's the second part in our manufacturing. And in the end, we have our final product, what we will pack, and then we will go to the local market where our customers will come to buy our product. Okay? If you look to the supply chain, the flow of goods is going this way. This is the flow of the goods, from the left to the right. But in supply chain, we say this is the upstream part, and here we have the downstream part. You really think about a river which is floating, and here you have downstream, and here you have the upstream part. Okay? So this is first general approach to a supply chain, but if we have a more complex product, maybe our supply chain will be a little bit longer. But first, I would like to add some information on this one. In fact, what are we doing here? We are making goods to stock. It means we are producing TEMPEH for a stock, and with the stock, the inventory we made, we will go to the market. This has some advantages and disadvantages. If we are on the market, the advantage is if a customer is coming to buy the TEMPEH and they are hungry, they can eat immediately. There is no waiting time. You just can go and buy. But on the other hand, if the customer would like to change something to the product, it's not possible. He can only buy what is available at the market. He cannot say, I would like to have a special TEMPEH with flavor, for example. It's not possible. He can only buy what is there. If we make our TEMPEH, we will do that based on the forecast of demand. We will say, for example, today it's a Monday, it's a calm day, I will not make too much. But maybe on Friday there will be more people and I will make a little bit more. So we will forecast, we will guess what the demand of the TEMPEH will be. It is possible that sometimes we will not sell everything because we thought there would be some demand, but it's not the case. So we have the risk of unsold products. Okay? So I will come back on that later. So this is a first example, an easy example, but I think easy and good to show the way a supply chain is made. If we translate it on an industrial level, here we can see the full supply chain as it will be or can be. We can skip some steps. You don't need everything all the time. I will just explain it because I will need it in 2 minutes. So you have the raw material, which is here it's with the supplier. It's delivered to my factory. This is here my factory. There can be a first transformation. I make some intermediate products. They are stored. Then I can have a second transformation. I make some intermediate products and they are stored again. The final product in my factory. I bring it to a central storage, a central distribution center, and from there on, eventually it can be brought to the local market. When we were discussing the TEMPEH, for example, there was no central storage. We went immediately from our small factory at home to the local storage in the market. That is possible. This is really the full possibility. So the flow of the goods, it's going this way, and the information, it's going the inverse way. What will be information? It can be an order from the client. It can be information on the product. I like your product or I don't like your product. So, or next week there is a national holiday, as an example, you will need to make a little bit more. All that is information which is coming the inverse way. Okay. We started from the TEMPEH, and we saw in the TEMPEH that there are some disadvantages. Sometimes it's not a big disadvantage for TEMPEH, there it works very well, but maybe for some other products it could be an issue. And therefore people have been thinking, how can we make the supply chain more flexible? And they have introduced, it is Hoekstra and Romme, who have done that in the past, the customer order decoupling point. So if we go back to our supply chain, somewhere on a triangle where there is a storage, there will be the customer order decoupling point. It means that will be the point until where the order of the client will enter the supply chain. Okay? So there will be goods waiting somewhere, can be semi-final goods or eventually almost final goods. And the moment the order of the client is coming, there can still be a change to the product. I will explain to you immediately. So the order of the client is going to come upstream and it will separate. We will have two parts in the supply chain. We will have downstream the customer order driven activity and upstream the planning driven activity. I will first show you the different possibilities of the location of that customer order decoupling point. So we will somewhere in our supply chain, we will locate that order. So it means that this part, the part to the right side of that customer order decoupling point, we will only perform when the order of the customer is there. So we will, in this part, we will react to the order of the customer. We will have to do it quick enough because maybe the customer does not want to wait too long, but it gives us some flexibility to react to the request, to the demand of the customer. If we look to the first part, there the organization is different. We will work with a forecast of intermediate products where my customer order decoupling point is laying. And this part we will organize in a very efficient way. We really watch the costs and we will use the full capacity of our installation. Okay, I will explain a little bit more. I hope it will be more clear in a minute. Okay, so we are going to start with the first example. In the first example, it means that it's in fact the the example of our TEMPEH. It is my customer order decoupling point is really totally downstream. So it means my customer driven activities, they are very low. What can you do? You go to the supermarket or you go to the market, and as a customer, you can choose on what is available, but people will not make anything for you in a normal supermarket. They will not do that. They will, some things have been prepared in advance, and therefore you can choose. How did they prepare in advance? They forecasted what the demand will be here, and this part they have organized in an efficient way. Okay, this is the first possibility, which is similar to the example we started with, the TEMPEH. And what are we now going to do? We are going to move that customer order decoupling point a little bit more upstream all the time. And I will give you an example of an industry which is doing that. Okay, so we go to the second situation, make to central stock. So it means my customer order decoupling point is laying here in the central stock. It means that the order of the customer will enter into this point. So here there are products waiting, but the products will still be changed a little bit based on the request of the customer. And the first part, it is planning driven. So this one, we have forecasted the products we need to be here, and this part is planning driven. For example, in the south of the Netherlands, in the place called Bergen op Zoom, there is a European distribution center of the Japanese manufacturing Ricoh. Ricoh is making these products. He makes copiers and printers. And he makes them in Japan and maybe in other places as well. But all the products which are of which the destiny is the European market, but also north of Africa and the Middle East, they are distributed from this European distribution center in Bergen op Zoom. And when an order of a client is entering, they are still doing the final step, which is, for example, the custom settings, the software which needs to be added to that printer, to that copier, will be, for example, the language and the options that the customer is asking. So it means that they don't make a lot of copiers with all kind. I make 100 copiers with Bahasa language, 100 copiers with Dutch language, 100 copiers with English language. No, they have their copiers and printers waiting here. And the moment the order of the customer is coming, they add the software they want on the copier and then they ship it. You understand what I mean? Okay. So we go to the next situation and we will again move our customer order decoupling point a little bit more upstream. So we will make the customer driven activities longer. The next example is assemble to order. So it means my storage, what do I have in storage? What is waiting in my production? It are my intermediate products. So the intermediate products are waiting, and I will assemble, I will put all these products together based on the order of the client. An example here is the making of Volvo trucks. If you look to the trucks, if you look to a production plant of trucks, you will see that every truck is different. The number of axles is different, the color of the cabin is different, the power of the engine is different. Every truck is different. So the people who are producing trucks, they say we cannot forecast how many pink trucks with 3 axles will be asked next year. It's not possible to forecast it. So they say we will wait until the order of the customer is coming, and we make exactly what the customer is asking. So it means in this plant, they only make trucks sold. Every truck which is assembled here, it is already sold to your client. And they make it, in fact, they assemble it. They start from the intermediate products which are available. This first part is blend. This is done before. But as from this part, it's only done when the order of the customer is really entered the supply chain. So they don't have a problem with unsold stock because every product they make is sold already. And it's very much customer driven because a customer can choose how he wants his truck. Okay, we can even go much further if you want. For example, that you will understand easy. We can also say make to order. We even don't have intermediate products. We only have raw materials. For example, a print shop. If you want a book to be printed but only once, you can send it to a shop printing on demand and he will print it only once. He has the paper, he has the ink, and he makes the product for you. So this activity is totally customer driven. Of course, if you print only one book, the cost of printing one book, it's a little bit more expensive than if we would print maybe 1,000 or 2,000 books in a very efficient way. But at least I don't have the risk of unsold products. I know every product I made has been sold. Okay. And then the last one, well, almost everything is customer driven. We will also buy the goods on request of the client, so purchase and make to order. An example can be here the construction of a house with an architect. The architect has designed the house and also the materials you will use, and we will purchase and make them to order. Okay, so these are the 5 possibilities where that customer order decoupling point can be. The question now is, there are some restrictions. We cannot do whatever we want because the more we bring our customer order decoupling point to the left, everyone noticed that the waiting time for the customer is becoming longer. So the longer the waiting time, is my customer accepting it or not? If he's not accepting it, I have to bring it more back to here or to here maybe. If we bring it too much downstream, we still have the risk of unmarketable stocks. So this is always the difference, in fact, we will have to manage. Where will we put the customer order decoupling point? We want to make a product which is a little bit or a lot personalized to the product, but we don't want to have too high waiting times. And of course, we don't want to make stocks we cannot sell because nobody is wanting it. Okay. I hope it's clear until now. This is, in fact, the general introduction. And I would like now to give you an example of a company which is called Inditex. Maybe the company is not known, but some of its brands can be. For example, the biggest brand is Zara, but they have a lot of other brands as well. They don't have shops in Indonesia, but they have shops in you can buy it online in Indonesia, but there are no physical shops, but there are shops in over 96 markets. So they are very much present worldwide. It's a company which is in fact, a Spanish company, and the headquarters are in La Coruña in Spain. And it has been founded in the early years, 1963, I think. And what's their product? You guessed already, their product is fashion. And what is the problem with fashion? I think you will agree with me. It is very difficult to predict the demand in fashion. You do not know if you make a new collection, if the people will like the collection or not, because it's really depending on what is fashionable on that moment. On the other hand, there is a low uncertainty in supply. There is no uncertainty in fabrics or buttons or zippers. There you can have a stock, that's not a problem. But the problem is the finished product. Maybe you will design something that nobody likes and will buy. So what has said Inditex, we are in a business where it's really very difficult to forecast the demand. So we cannot work like the system of the TEMPEH. We cannot work and predict what we think we demand, because maybe nobody will like what I have made. So what we do is we will create a responsive supply chain. We are going to make what the client wants. And we will do that in a way, make to order. So if I go back, this is a situation where they will be. I will explain you in a minute. So what I first would like to do is, I would first like to show you how do you do that. Create a flexible, responsible supply chain where the customer is at the heart of that supply chain. How do you do that? So first, I would like to show you a small movie, how Inditex is organizing all that.
Inditex's design teams have their work cut out for them every day. Fashion trends, new styles, colours and shapes are constantly changing. The challenge lies in being attuned to all sorts of influences and the ability to spot new trends and translate them into coveted designs. Customers value the company's ability to offer the items they're looking for when they want them from a collection that is constantly updated.
Antes, cualquier colección que podías ver por ahí fuera en una ciudad, Londres, Tokio, pues lo que podías ver encontrar allí tenía una vigencia de hasta un año o dos, que en España no iba a llegar. Pero ahora mismo todo lo que sale en una ciudad europea o no europea lo tienes a la vez en Madrid, Barcelona y en La Coruña.
Nosotros nos inspiramos en la música, en la calle, nos inspiramos en películas, viajamos por todo el mundo, intentamos sacar pues información de todas partes para luego ponerlo, representarlo en nuestras colecciones. Ya no hay dos campañas como había antiguamente, sino que cada semana hay cosas nuevas, hay nuevos pues vestidos, nuevas calidades, nuevos coloridos, hay nuevas tendencias.
Tienes que tener un poco de psicología, saber lo que quieres fácil porque lo ves en las ventas, pero lo que va a querer dentro de 2 meses no es tan fácil, tienes que tener un poco de intuición.
Intentamos sacarle el máximo de provecho a la información de lo que nuestro público quiere y de lo que nosotros podemos ofrecerle. La moda está en la calle y al final es lo que vamos a buscar.
Inditex has turned the fashion industry's traditional way of doing business on its head by putting the customer at the forefront of the creative process. Its designers pay close attention to the information coming in from Inditex stores, customers' requests, preferences and comments on the collection or new trends, including those taking shape beyond its stores. All of this valuable information is the raw material nourishing the company's creative teams.
Es muy importante la información que nos transmite la tienda. La tienda tiene el contacto con el público directamente y ellos pues nos van explicando qué les gustaría ponerse para esa campaña.
日々お客様と接客をすることによってお客様の意見を伺うようにしています。で、それを商品企画に実際につなげていっております。で、お客様自身がトレンドを作ると言ってもいいと思います。
In addition to clothing, Intertex sells footwear and accessories. A group subsidiary, TEMPEH, designs and manufactures these products, inspired by the same philosophy that guides the rest of the collections.
Nuestros diseñadores trabajan en constante comunicación con cada uno de los equipos de las diferentes cadenas del grupo. Cada campaña creamos líneas de accesorios y calzado que siguen las mismas tendencias de moda que sus colecciones de prendas.
The collections created by Intertex's retail concepts each season are sold worldwide, with the sales teams adapting them to the needs of each local market and each store's customers.
Ahora estamos viendo la gente que está hablando todos los días con las tiendas y que está recopilando la información, pues en vez de esperar a tener toda una colección para enseñárselas, ya hemos ido un poco enseñándoles prendas para ver si vamos bien por ese camino o no.
Acabamos de ver una prueba de woman, de señora. La colección es la misma para todos nosotros, para todos los países, y cada uno de nosotros seleccionamos la mercancía en función de nuestro mercado.
Hombre, también la colección es suficientemente importante como para poder justamente llegar un poco a todos, ¿no? Y es lo que se pretende. Si hay artículos que en un determinado mercado faltan, esto es nuestro trabajo de dar la información aquí para que el equipo de diseño se ponga a trabajar sobre esos modelos.
Yes, so I hope it was a little bit clear for you. So they say we cannot forecast the demand. So what are we going to do? We look to what is sold very well in our shops. We look to the reaction of the people if they try the goods in the shops. We also look to the streets. We look to young people who are very fashionable, who sometimes make things themselves. What do they wear? What do they like? And all this information is given back and is given back to the design teams who is incorporating that in the design of the collection, in fact. But they don't have one collection or 2 or 3 on a year, but they have every week new items. So they are making new collections all the time. And if they see that something is not selling, they don't use that anymore for the next part. So they have a lot of very quick, small collections which are rotating all the time, and they check what is working, what is not working, and what is working they incorporate in the new designs they are going to make. So they can make from design to store, they can make clothes in 2 to 3 weeks. It means they start from the raw materials and based on all the input they are getting from the market, in 3 weeks, the goods can be in the local storage, which is really quick. And that's what they said. We want to respond. We want to give a quick answer to what we see with our clients. So in this case, it's not a real order from the client, but they look how the client behaves, what he likes, what he does not like, and all these things they incorporate in the new design. And they really have a very big group of people who are working on that to incorporate all that input they see with the clients into their products. So that's what they said, input a collection from fashion cities, observing people, store manager, very important, what does he feel with his clients. A store manager also can choose for his store maybe a little bit else than for another store, it's possible. What is not sold within a week is withdrawn. People, things which don't want work, they don't let it in the shop, they take it out and they replace it by new thing they hope which will sell better. This means that the customers, they are visiting Zara more often than the competitors because they know that every week, twice a week, new elements, new things are coming into the shop. Okay. That's nicely said. We will make a responsive and agile supply chain. But how do you do that? It's not so easy, especially if you're such a big company. So what have they done is that they are making the complex products, so not the basic product, t-shirts and so on, not, that's the easy product, that one they will outsource, but all the difficult products, they make themselves in company-owned production. So they have a lot of production capacity, which is their own. They are vertically integrated. They are belonging to the same company, and they are very close to the market. They are not far away. They are not in Vietnam, for example, but they are close. They are in Spain, Portugal, eventually Morocco. So close to the client. Once it's made, it can be quickly shipped to the client. Even if the wages in Spain and Portugal, they are not the highest wages in Europe, but it will be higher than some countries outside Europe. So they say every complex product we make ourselves. And we will make sure that we have a little bit of buffer capacity. If we see that some new demand is coming because there is a festival, for example, or then they can quickly add capacity if they need. They work in small batches, of course. What is small for such a big company, but I mean, they will make a new design for next week, and the week after they don't repeat it, they make a new one. If it's sold out, it's sold out. And what they are doing now as well, they are using radio frequency identification tags in all the clothes, and so that they know where the inventory of the clothes is really located, because they want to link the physical stock to also the online sales. So I will now show you a little bit regarding the production.
Excuse me, Dr. Lieve. I think in my side, I cannot hear the sound.
Apologize. Is there a question? Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, Dr. Lieve. The sound of the video is not clear here.
Sorry, it's my mistake. Thank you, Debbie. I will start again. Okay, thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.
Production has been a key component of Inditex's identity ever since the company got its start as a clothing manufacturer. The fact that the group has its own factories has given it a high degree of flexibility from its earliest days. Any new item can be designed, manufactured and delivered to stores in record time.
La verdad, aquí empezamos fabricando como 1000 prendas diarias y hoy llegamos a fabricar 40 y 50.000 prendas diarias. Aquí hacemos las colecciones, la moda. Lo que compramos fuera en realidad son básicos.
The group also works with external suppliers, a significant percentage of which are based in countries close to its design centres. At Inditex, it is essential to react to market trends as quickly as possible. The ability to produce merchandise in its own factories and in nearby markets is very important to the business model.
This is the purchasing department. We work with providers all over the world. However, we source our products basically from Spain and other European countries.
The company's pattern makers turn new designs into prototypes. Next, patterns are sent to the factories, kicking off the manufacturing process.
Aquí en esta sección lo que hacemos es recibir los patrones que nos dan los patronistas, nos dan exclusivamente la talla base, la que se utiliza para sacar todas las demás. De aquí simplemente tenemos que aprovechar el máximo tejido con ese producto.
Yo creo que el secreto de Inditex está en ver lo que la gente quiere, o sea, el cliente es el que en realidad determina lo que nosotros fabriquemos. Si tú pides una prenda con 4 meses de antelación, te puedes equivocar. Si cuando llega a las tiendas esa prenda no funciona, tú ya no tienes marcha atrás, o sea, tienes que quedarte con esas prendas. Sin embargo, si tú lo fabricas aquí en casa y tú te equivocas, tú puedes girar de un día para otro totalmente el planteamiento que tenías.
Yes, okay. And then the last part, the logistics. Also in the logistics, they have a very strict time schedule. So it means that the orders from the stores have to be in for a certain timing. If you're too late, maybe you won't be delivered. They're really strict. Each store is delivered twice a week, and each shipment contains new products. They deliver in 24 to 36 hours to European store and to 48 hours to Americans or Asian stores. This is the timing between the moment the goods arrive at the distribution center in Spain to the moment they are in the stores. So it's really quick. They use quick transport, which is expensive, but they want their products to be quickly with the client. They have a centralized IT infrastructure, so all the shops, everyone is on the same IT system, which has been developed in-house. So in fact, they have a huge chain of small, between brackets, volumes, which is really moving all the time. And while part of the goods are still delivered to the shops, others are already again developed and following. So they really have a strict the same rhythm, in fact, within the chain. Okay. I now have a small question to you. I don't know if it will be possible to answer, but maybe some people can answer in the chat. What do you think? We have now discussed the supply chain of Zara, of Inditex. You have seen that they are producing in Europe, not everything, but part of their products. They are using quick transports. They can develop new products in 2 to 3 weeks. They have a little bit of spare capacity in their production, which is vertically integrated for a big part. What do you think is the logistics, the supply chain of Zara? Is it cheap or expensive? What do you think? If you transport your goods by plane to your shops in Asia, is it cheap or expensive?
Anyone, please?
I think you agree with me that the logistics at Zara, they are expensive. Because if you don't use your full capacity, because you always want a little bit of capacity in case of unforeseen demand. If you work with small batches, not with 2 collections for a whole year, but a lot of small collections. You have to redesign them, be very flexible also in the production, because one day they have to make this, another day you have to make that. Your people need a lot of skills as well, because they have to do several jobs. So it's really an expensive supply chain. So the question then is, why have they set up it in that way? Why they choose an expensive supply chain? And for that, I would like to return to you or to reason with you aloud regarding a scheme. They call it the Dupont schedule. We are going to look to logistics, to supply chain from a financial point of view. We are going to look what is the return on the investment. What is the investment I make in the company and what is the return I get. And then you will see, so this is the scheme. I will maybe explain it first. Return on investment. What is the profit divided by the assets? The profit, I think it's easy. It's your turnover minus the costs. If you look to the assets, where do I need to put my money in order to be able to work as a company? I have fixed assets like, for example, buildings, but also machinery, equipment. And I have current assets like inventories, cash, amounts receivable, and I can deduct the amounts payable. So normally what you would say is that the costs, they are very high with Zara because they have an expensive supply chain. Yes, it's true. Their costs are higher than competition. But what is also the case is that they have a very high turnover at full price. Because the people, they come the fashionistas, they come twice a week, once a week, they come to look in Zara to see what's new. So compared to the competitors, they have to sell less clothes at a discount. They can sell much more at full price. So that's a very big advantage. And the second thing is the height of the inventories, because they have small batches all the time. Every week they make new clothes which are sold very quickly. They have a very high rotation of the inventories. They are not building up inventories in very high amounts, which maybe never sell. They don't. They only have small inventories which are rotating very quick. And that, in fact, is their secret, if you can say it. They have, compared to their competitors, a higher turnover, higher sales at full price. They have to sell less clothes as a discount. They have a very high rotation in inventories of a product, which is very difficult to forecast. So it's important. And therefore, they need less working capital. Okay. So maybe as a small recapitulation, I wanted to explain you where the customer order decoupling point of a supply chain can be, that it should not always be totally downstream, but think of Volvo trucks. Sometimes if you bring it a little bit upstream, you can add flexibility for the customer. The customer can choose the design of the truck he wants. If he wants to wait a little bit for the truck, because you still have to build it based on semi-finished products which are available. We also saw that sometimes it's more also in an indirect way. If you look to the example of Inditex, of Zara, they make a lot of new collections, and they make twice a week new garments based on the input of the stores and what they see in movies, on the television and so on. They incorporate in their design, and they see what works and what is not working. Yes, so this is done the second part. So here you have really the responsive supply chain for the fashion products and not for the basics. For the fashion products, which is starting as a make to order. Okay. So terima kasih. I hope you liked the presentation, that you learned something. In case some people would like to read a little bit more, here is a list of reference where you can find more information regarding my subject. Okay, thank you for your attention.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Lieve, for very insightful presentations. Okay, students, as we know that for today's, the supply chain flexibility is playing a very big role during this pandemic. Yeah, everybody knows that. Every business trying to survive, try to retain the market. But yeah, the condition is the demand is getting lower, especially in the fashion industry, I think. Because why should people buy a newest mode of clothes while we are just staying at home? Is something like that. So maybe students, should you have any questions or something that you want to discuss in regards to the flexibility of the supply chain? Especially we are learning about the operations management. So which strategies that should we put in during this uncertainty moving of the word? Okay, please, students, if you have any question, just raise your hand or just drop the questions in the chat room. Any questions? Okay, just for the insight in Indonesia as well. For example, now the demand for the the formal dress or the fashionable dress is maybe getting less than before, but the demand of the home dress, the casual dress that we can use in everyday life is getting higher in Indonesia. So meaning that the strategies of the fashion industry is trying to be flexible, especially in the supply chain itself. Hello, students. I believe you're still there. Okay, Dr. Lieve, maybe some of the students didn't turn on the camera because, yeah, they're staying at home and not all of the students gonna have the good internet connection. So they try to minimize the credits of the
No,
internet.
it's not a problem, but I think what you say, Debbie, it's very true. It's that you see that it's also with us that demand is changing because yeah, the people they are at home. They cannot go to festivities or be together with a lot of people. So indeed, why you should buy new things when you cannot show it? It's a part of the thing. But like you say, people buy other things to be at home garments and so on. So if you have a responsive supply chain, also there you can adapt. If you see that that part is selling more, you can adapt quickly. But it's like you say, the actual circumstances are very difficult. No, that's true. What we also see is that when it's a little bit like in summer, it was the experience in Belgium, it was a little bit less strict and people could go again shopping, and that you see that sales they partly come back, that things people did not buy yet, they can buy it later. Maybe not in the full amount, but it's not that they don't buy anything anymore. That's not the case. Then they buy it later and they still do. So it's not all lost sales. Part is recovered.
Yes. I think now the some of the companies try to move their strategies. Yeah, because for example, in Indonesia right now, so if we would like to buy something, we just turn on our marketplace. We can just search what we want to buy, and then the industry is changing. So they're trying to move the offline shop to the online shop.
Yes.
Right there.
Yeah. And therefore, the RFID is also important with Zara, because with the RFID, they can really have a precise inventory management. Because with the online sales, if you order a skirt in blue, and on the website it's still available, but in the end, they don't find it anymore or they don't know where it is, it's a problem. So especially with the online sales, your stock management has to be very precise. And this is why, of course, the RFID is also a very good tool, which is Zara using in all the garments they make. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe Pak Dika and Pak Faiz, do you want to add some insight? We're waiting for the students.
Is it an example you know? Did you know the example of Zara, the Inditex group, the supply chain? Did you know it already, or is it something new?
I believe the student has already known about the Zara brand, but I'm not sure that they have already know about the, how is the supply chains.
Okay, yes.
How is
Yeah.
the production?
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe I will give some insights regarding Zara. Well, that's really interesting topic of Zara. Well, I knew that because when I was studying about Zara is really expensive. Yeah, I know that. And even like the usage of the RFID technology in supply chain, some companies still prefer don't use it since they just need, some of them you have like an active tag, and some of the product have a passive tags. But in case of Zara, they should use passive tag because it's cheaper. But still, like because this technology still don't use massively in many products, so I think it's still expensive. So yeah. On the other hand, maybe this technology can improve the transparency within the supply chain. But of course, the company that want to implement RFID technology in their product, they should consider if the customer want to pay more or not. So if the customer don't want to pay more, then the company should skip it, because I think RFID technology still can be categorized as a fancy technology. Just imagine you need to add the tag in every product, and the customer just bring it into their home and you cannot use it again. That's really expensive, the tag. So but maybe in the future this will be an interesting technology. If there are so many companies that already use this technology, I think the production cost will be much more cheaper. Maybe that's some more insights from me. That's really interesting case, Doctor. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you for your intervention. Yes, it's true that RFID technology is not cheap. This is also the reason why, like in Europe, for food products, it's not used. While in the United States, like Walmart and so on, they do it. With Europe, it's not the case. Because compared to the price of a food product, it's very expensive. But like in fashion, like you mentioned, Zara is not the cheapest one. So they have a little bit more margin there. They also are a big company, so I think they will have used their buying power if they wanted to buy the RFID. And I think for them, if they, let's say, if they want to sell a product and they don't find it anymore in their storage, it's also a cost to them. So that could be an argument for them, but it's true that it's not a cheap technology. It's true.
Okay, so students, maybe you have some more questions, or you can just add insights if you want, I think.
I'm very far. I cannot. You should not be afraid.
Yeah.
Or maybe if you try to deliver it in English, you can just write it down in Bahasa and we can help to translate it.
Yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity. I have a question. So, is the supply chain management is the strategic senior level position in the company, or it is the part of the operation activity? Actually, thank you.
Can you please repeat, Dewi? It is the question. Is it regarding the Zara company, or you ask if supply chain is a separate department or part of the other department? Is that your question?
Okay. My question is supply chain management is a strategic senior level position in Zara, or it is the part of an operation activity?
I should check the organigram. I don't know it by heart, but I suppose it will be on senior management level, because it's really a very important part in their company. They also they are a responsive supply chain, but they also look very much on the efficiency. So so therefore, I think it's a centralized function on senior level. Yes. I don't have the organigram here with me, but I could check if you like. It should be on senior level, in my opinion, because it's so important in their strategy of the company.
Yeah,
and they want to combine flexibility, but also being very efficient. And therefore, you really need a central view on all the costs and everything.
Is that clear, Mas Joshua?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, because it's a strategic decision. So yeah, maybe it should be in the management, senior management.
Yeah.
Okay, is there another questions? Mas Ian, Mas Fakhri? Just please raise your hand. Anyone? Okay, Pak Dika, maybe you want to add another insight? Yes, there is a one student raised the hand. Okay, there is two questions. The first one's I'll let Mbak Adriani first. Mbak Adriani, time is yours.
Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Bu Devi and Madam Lieve. So my question is really simple actually, because I didn't do any research first, but I want to ask you a question. What do you think of because of this pandemic, is there any drastic change to the supply chain method that Sarah used right now to survive this pandemic, maybe?
I think there are two elements in my opinion. The first thing is that, like Mrs. Davies said as well, we start to buy other things. If you have a very responsive supply chain, if you can make new things in 3 weeks, you can better reply than your competition to that challenge. I think it's a challenge for everyone, but I think you can better reply. And a second element, I think it's that they have been focused on online sales as well during the last years. So they're really focused to be able to deliver, to sell goods online. You could pick them up in a shop, which will not be possible, for example, with us, but there are also other places where you can pick up your order or even deliver at home. So I think that's also a very big challenge, a big opportunity for them, that they have it in place. If you have to start to develop it now, yeah, you have a delay. While if you have everything in place for online sales, you can try to compensate part of the lost sales in the shops. But as we mentioned, your supply chain has to be adapted because the supply chain of online sales is different than the one of the physical market.
Yes, and it should be more precise.
Yes, yes, more precise, and also managing the reverse logistics because people, they try, they don't like, but they send it back. You have to be able to manage the return flows as well.
Yes, yes, exactly. Because
yes.
we the difference one with the offline stores. In the offline store, we can try the clothes, and if it fits to us, we can just purchase it. But in the online, we just try to recognize what the size, and when they deliver to us, it's not, sometimes it's not exactly the same as we wish to have.
Yes, yes, yes. No, it's true. And also the web shop is also very important because like you say, you cannot feel the clothes, you have to see and decide on what you see on the web shop.
Yeah, we lost this experience to just feel and see about the real.
Yes. And it's important for clothes, it's important. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And now we are trying to like knowing what kind of fabric, the terms of fabric that really fit to us. Whether maybe before we didn't realize that what kind of fabric is this. We just come to the shop and find, oh, it's okay for me, it's good for me, just something like that. But now we have to understand what fabrics that we need, what fabrics that make us comfortable with this clothes, something like that. Okay, thank you, Mbak
Bu
Adrian.
Dewi, I think there is two questions from students in the chat room.
Okay, there are two questions. I will invite Mas Arshi to, you can ask directly to Dr. Lieve. Mas Arshi, are you here? So yeah, Mas Arshi is asking, when you make a new product, is it important to hear the voice of your customer? Okay, Mas Arshi is here. Hello. He just
hello.
Lost. Okay.
Yeah. Good afternoon. My name is Arsi. I want to ask some question. When you make a new product, is it important to hear the voice of your customer?
I think it's always the case, but it also depends on your strategy. But most of the companies, they if you are how to say, if you have a strategy for customer intimacy, or you're a product leader, your customer is very important. So you really have to see what does he want today and also in the future, because it's not because he wants something today that it will be the same thing he wants in the future. So I think that's really important, and that's also the case for Zara. It's really customer intimacy, what their strategy is. So, and also the product is unpredictable, so they really have to listen to the client. Also, if you're cost leader, you also will look to the client because you want to sell your product. But maybe you cannot deliver him all the service he wants, because if you're a cost leader, if people buy only on price, and if somebody else has a lower price, he will go to the competition. The service you deliver will be lower. Only the standard service. But I think in what you raise is very important, that every company has to listen to the client. Because that's the one who, because we talked about flows of goods, flows of information, but very important flow is a flow of money, which will come back in return of the product or service. And there, of course, the voice of the customer is very important. A customer which is not happy will not return the flow of money in a structural way. Yeah, it's very good to emphasize the importance of the customer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lieve. Is that clear, Mas Arsi?
But what if the voice of the customer isn't suitable with our standard, the standard of the company?
I don't understand
So
the question.
for example, we already set up the standard for our company, and then the customer has another request. Maybe it's lower or higher for the standard of the product itself.
Ah, yes, yes. I think it depends of your strategy of the company. If you're a cost leader, so you really sell a standard product, and people, it's a commodity, it's a standard product, and people only buy on the price. And then, for example, a customer asks to have smaller shipments or to have a very quick shipment to go out of the standard. I think then you have to ask a higher price. You understand what I mean? You cannot, you can listen to your customer, but not at any price and any cost. You have to deliver the service to your customer at the right price. So it's different if you have a customer intimacy or product leadership strategy, because there the price of the product is different. This is the case with Zara too. It's not a cheap product. But if you're really cheap, you sell cheap products. It's my opinion. In what I see here in Europe, if you have cheap products and you know that if your client will find a cheaper supplier, he will go. And then he asks a lot of additional service leading to additional costs, you cannot deliver at the lowest price. It's not possible. Then you have to charge him for the additional costs. I think there it's really important to stick to the strategy of the company.
Yeah, so it's back to the strategy.
Yes, it's back. Yeah. You cannot do everything for everyone. It's not possible.
Yes, exactly.
You have to choose what you want to do for whom. And where your client is willing to pay for.
Okay, Dr. Lieve, we have two last questions here. Maybe I can help to read the questions in the chat room, because we are having it's about to end. So the first one is coming from Alvar. He would like to ask the questions about, for a small company, how can we implement Zara supply chain process in responsive to market demand and fast market oriented toward our own without having to pay an expensive cost?
So the question is, as a small company, how you can have a flexible supply chain
without having to pay the expensive cost. Yeah.
Yes. I think the principle of delay, that's what you do with the customer order decoupling point. You delay the last part. The last part of your supply chain, you only do it when the request of the customer is there, when the order of the customer is there. And I think that can be a strategy for everyone. If you're a small company or a big company, you can. It's also a possibility that you are more personal in the product you sell to your client, because you can still add a small thing, for example, in that last step. And that's, for example, what you, if we stay in the food industry, what you sometimes see people doing. I don't know if it's the case with you, but for example, if you want to eat something and you can go to the market and you buy everything which is pre-packed. But sometimes you can also say, I go, I sell noodles, and the client can choose a topping of the noodles. So it means that you don't make the final product with already the topping added, but you delay the last part. So you only make the noodles and you have some toppings which are there, and the client can choose from that topping. So in that way, you delay the last step. You only add the topping the moment the demand of the customer is there. You're reactive to what he wants. And you don't have the risk of too many unsold products, which are already mixed. You still have the risk, of course, of the intermediate products, which are the topics separately and your noodles separately.
I think the strategy also applied in Benetton. So they postpone to coloring requirements until
Yes, very
demand.
well. Yes, very well. And also the etiquettes they added in the yes, very well. It's true. It's also a way of delay the final stage in the production. Yes, I think it's possible for every company, also if you're small. The only thing is you have to see if it has a sense to do it. If you're perfectly capable of forecasting your product, you can continue to work with an efficient supply chain. Why not? It's only a solution if, like in fashion, for example, when you don't manage to forecast that demand anymore, and you have a risk of unsold products, and that, of course, is a problem. Yeah.
Yes. And this is the last questions, Dr. Lieve, I believe. It's coming from Troy. He would like to ask, he saw some news about the employees' exploitations for cheaper production costs and for more flexible supply chains. So some big company are likely to use the outsourcing cheaper company, like in Bangladesh or Ethiopia. Does the company need to take the responsibility for this, or is it the outsourcing company responsibility?
Yes, yes. I think it's a very good question. It's a very, how to say, important question too. If you look to the website of Inditex, you will see that they have a protocol added there where they explain how they manage it. And I really think that, especially like people who are vertically integrated, who are doing less outsourcing, they have everything more in hand, so they can know more what the circumstances are regarding labor and a fair price for a fair job and so on. But in my opinion, it's really the responsibility of the company who is that they can know what the situation is with their suppliers. I know that Inditex are doing a great effort on that, or for the part they are outsourcing, that they the people are can work in safe working conditions. They are reasonably, they have a fair wage for their work and so on. And I also think it's important the voice of the customer there, because if we as a customer, if we make sure that we show them that for us it's important, that we don't buy the clothes anymore where we know the circumstances are not important, or we ask the companies that they make sure that they have a charter, and they stick to that charter. I think that's also a very important signal. So this, for me, it's clearly the responsibility of the client in the chain, twice, Inditex as a client to its suppliers, but also the individual customer as a client to the companies you're buying.
Yes, exactly. I couldn't agree more with you, Dr. Lee.
But they do, from Inditex, I know they do a lot of efforts already. If you look to the annual report, you will see there is really a big description in their annual report on what they are doing.
Yes, since outsourcing labor is always a big issue everywhere.
No, it's true. But it's a very, very good question. Thank you for raising the subject.
Thank you, Mas Alfa. Mas Roy, I think. Yeah, the last one. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Lieve, for delivering a very, very insightful presentation, because it's really close to us, because how to make it supply chains more flexible during this pandemic. So we have to realize that, yeah, everything is changing. So everything should be more flexible in this, especially in the not only the small company, even the big company try to survive in this situation.
And also in education, we have to be more flexible too.
For sure, like this.
True,
Yeah, because now we are all miles apart, and we are here in Surabaya and we are in Belgium. But I do hope in the future, Dr. Lieve will back to Indonesia and come to business management to see all the students directly.
Yes, and in Verse as well, we will in future would like to invite some lecturers from ETS to Kortrijk and Brugge as well. Yes.
And the student as well, I believe.
And students as well. Yes, we are working on it. We are working on Erasmus Plus funding, so it would be able for the future.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Lieve. Okay, so because the time is about to end, so I would like to offer the microphone back to the MC. Again, thank you very much and see you in the future.
Thank you. Well, everyone, class of fest that our event today has come to an end. For any quick question we could not answer due to time limitation, please do not hesitate to let us know by email mbusiness@its.ac.id. Once more, mbusiness@its.ac.id. We would like to express our great appreciation for our guest speaker, Dr. Lieve, who already shared her knowledge to us. And we also would like to thank to all participants today. We do hope everyone enjoy an insightful and productive meeting. And we would like to invite you in the virtual group photo. So please kindly share your best smile by turning on video. Once more, so I would like to invite you to virtual group photo. So please kindly share your best smile by turning on video. Okay, I will start counting. Three, two, one. Wait. Once more. I will start counting. 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you very much. On behalf of the organizing committee, as the MC, we would like to apologize for any inconveniences that might be happened during this event. Thank you and have a good day, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you. Okay, for the students, don't forget you still have another classes after this for your new venture creations.